Who doesn't love children? But I didn't know where this love for children would take me. And I will always regret in my life that I wish I hadn't seen what I saw, and what I heard I wish I had never heard. My story is going to make me cry, so listen to it till the end and pray for me. In those days, I was anxious to have children. My husband had accepted that I could never be a mother to our own children. My husband had accepted that I could never be a mother. We could never have children of our own. But life showed me the time to do so, which I had not thought of. My husband left this world with the desire for children. I became a wife. There was nothing in life but shedding tears. I thought, why don't I move forward in my life? I won't live a life like this, crying like this. I decided in my heart that I would give birth to a child who has no parents or who needs the love of parents. I wanted to shower my motherhood on a child who deserves it. Then someone told me about a women's prison. Children were born in this prison too, and women would come from there and take the children to their homes as they wished, and they would give birth to them. I was happy about this because obviously, where would the children of the women in prison go to? Life must be very difficult for them. Obviously, a criminal woman who gives birth to a child who will look at her with respect. I decided in my heart that I would adopt the child of a woman who no one asks about or has any heirs so that she can meet her child later. I just want to express my feelings. I want to raise someone, and I want to atone for sending my husband away from this world in anger. I started trying, but no prison staff informed me that children are born here. Then after further research, I found out that only Dr. Nilofar can give me the children of women in prison. I thought that I would go and talk to Dr. Nilofar because she not only delivered and handled cases of children born inside the prison, but also delivered these children to deserving parents. I had already realized that Dr. Nilofar was the only woman who could give me access to the prison. Secondly, the birth of children is done secretly. This is when I asked the general public, everyone expressed ignorance, and the prison staff also strictly forbade me, saying that we do not know. Nothing like this happens in our prison. But then I spoke to Dr. Nilofar, and she shared this with me on the condition of confidentiality that, yes, children are definitely born in prison, but we do not tell everyone about this. You have been trying for a long time, and in this effort, you have also talked to many people. So now you will not ask anyone again and will keep this a secret, because all the children born in prison are trusts, and there are already many allegations against women prisoners. In such a situation, if a woman's family comes to know that she has given birth to a child, it will be very difficult for her. I, Dr. Nilofar. I was surprised to hear what she said. What do you mean I think that these children belong to their husbands? After listening to me, Dr. Nilofar concluded her speech and said in a cautious tone, yes, that is not a problem. But still, you know our society. Idiots make up all sorts of things. Then, women prisoners are also respected. I had a question in my mind. Dr. Nilofar, tell me, do the husbands of these women come to meet them when their children are born? I mean, where are these children born? After listening to me, Dr. Nilofar said one sentence to me in a cold tone. Shazia, if you want a child, then you should refrain from asking unnecessary questions. I have agreed to give you a child. That is the big deal. Now, if you ask all sorts of unnecessary questions, it will be difficult for me to give you a child. Dr. Nilofar's changing tone indicated that there must be something black in the doll. Otherwise, Dr. Nilofar would be so beautiful. And she had a warm personality that she could not get angry with anyone. But what she was hiding from me must have been some suspicious matter that no one knew about, and I don't know where from. But while searching for me, I found out. They just say, search and a person will find God. Well, I had made up my mind that I would definitely reach the truth about Dr. Nilofar. Maybe she doesn't kidnap children. There were many such questions that were coming to my mind. I thought that I would take the child from here, even if it was a very bad experience in life for me. Maybe I could help a woman prisoner. I told my mother about this. My mother said, daughter, stay away from these matters. Do you know that these people steal children from hospitals and then name them in the name of the children of women prisoners in prison? My mother's words were not true because these people were not kidnapping children. Dr. Nilofar had told me that you don't have to pay us any fee for any child you take from here. It must be because we are not selling children, but we give the children of forced women to raise in the future. I was encouraged by Dr. Nilofar's words, and I was sure that these people are not selling anyone's children, but are really helping people. But the question was, how do women prisoners give birth in prison because their husbands do not come to meet them, and there was no man in the prison? This surprised me, but I did not know that more surprises were yet to come. Dr. Nilofar had told me that you will come on Monday, and I will show you different children. You can take whichever child you find beautiful and healthy. This word from Dr. Nilofar made me happy. Obviously, all children are lovely, but some children have a human heart. On Monday, I went to Dr. Nilofar's office. She made me sit in her car. When we reached the prison premises, I was very surprised to see that different women had also given birth to their children in the cells in the prison. Some of them were even breastfeeding their children. This was very strange to them. I asked Dr. Nilofar if these women would easily give me their children. I asked Dr. Nilofar and she said, "Yes, don't worry about that. If you ask any of these women for a child, they will immediately give you their child." I had seen that many women in the cell had children, but when I started thinking about it, all the children belonged to others. It was like parrots flying off my hands. If any of the children belonged to others, I would certainly not have felt bad or been surprised. But I looked carefully and looked again and again and found that all the women present here had children belonging to others. This was a strange thing in itself. I asked Dr. Nilofar why all these women had children belonging to others. She looked at me strangely and said, "Shazia, what can we say? This is only the power of Allah. We cannot interfere in anything. Allah Almighty who gives what He wants, who are we?" Apparently the doctor had spoken very well. It was appropriate and reasonable, but I couldn't digest it because all of these women were sitting holding other people's children. There was no expression of motherhood on their faces. It seemed that these children were not theirs. Someone had held the child as if they were holding someone else's child. There was a strange desolation in the eyes of the women. It was fear and panic that I could understand. I also found one woman who wanted to talk to me, but because of Dr. Shazia, she was very hesitant. It seemed that she was still a virgin. She was not even married, and there was a lot of innocence on her face. She tried to address me many times, but in the presence of Dr. Shazia, it was not possible. I even had a formal conversation with a jailer standing there and gave him my number. Since I was a lawyer by profession, I knew the method and art of raising people's manners well. I also took the jailer's number. I was very happy that now I could talk to him and at least reach the woman who wanted to talk to me. But because of Dr. Shazia, this was not possible. To appease Dr. Shazia, I told her that I would come on Friday and take a child with me. Today I would consult my mother. I had also taken pictures of these children to show Dr. Shazia. But the truth is that now, more than adopting a child, I was worried about the women who were in the prison and their children were being given to other people. That too without any compensation. If these were their mothers, or if they had created laughter and happiness for them, how would they have agreed to give them to someone without any hesitation? This was the only thing that stuck in my mind. I had taken up the task of investigating Dr. Nilofar. I had thought in my heart that I would take advantage of my profession and use it for the right purpose. I would definitely find out who these women are, whose children they have, and why everyone has other people's children. The first link I found was this. I had the jailer's number. I invited her for tea and said that I need to talk to you urgently. Jailer Saima was a cheerful and well-mannered girl. I knew that she could tell me as many things as possible about this jail as possible, what the people do here, and how these women give birth to their children, etc. I had to meet Jailer Saima first in this regard, because Saima was the woman who could take me to Dr. Nilofar. I thought that instead of talking to her on the phone, it would be much better if I invited her for dinner. This way, she would tell me more things, she would also get to know me, and because of this acquaintance, I would be able to get as much information from her as possible. She had accepted my dinner invitation after much hesitation because obviously she did not know me. So how could she have dinner with me? However, she was very supportive, so I had prepared my questions in advance. When she came to meet me, I assured her completely that I would earn her trust. I will never hurt you because I was bound by her promise. Saima told me that I wanted to tell you a lot of things anyway, but I was afraid that you might tell someone else, or that you might tell Dr. Nilofar. Look, in the area and the system we work in, there are both good and bad people. Sometimes a person does not understand who to trust and who not to trust. I also know what you are worried about: the birth of two-headed children. The birth of children with others is a mystery that was a source of interest to me before. I tried many times, but no one agreed with me. But since then, I have been very scared. I never tell anyone about Dr. Nelofar. I still do not know such things about her, that if I tell you, you will immediately get to the bottom of it. But the thing is, I also Dr. Nelofar is suspected. In fact, no man has ever come to our prison. Not a single visitor has come inside the prison. So how is it possible that women in the prison are giving birth all the time? Dr. Nelofar is the only doctor who comes to deliver these children. That is, women. I find this strange. I think there must be a story behind this, some terrible truth, but I don't know anything about it. My own curiosity in this matter has also awakened since last week, and since that day I have started keeping an eye on who does what. I also noticed a strange thing in the prison, that Dr. Shazia takes some women to the basement inside the prison. When they come, these women don't remember anything. I thought that maybe some injustice is being done to them. Dr. Shazia does something that causes these women to get pregnant, or there is a man in this basement who uses these women, has a relationship with them, or has children with them, but it is not like that. All the women of all the countries return in the same state in which they go to the basement. There is no such thing in their hearts or fatigue on their faces. It seems that nothing has happened to them. I even asked 2 or 3 women what happens to you in the basement. They said nothing. There is no man there or anything to fear. Rather, it is a nice place. When we go there, we feel like we have breathed fresh air for a while. Rather, when we go there, Dr. Nelofar becomes good to us. She gives us various juices to drink, and we don't have to do anything. We just lie down there and rest. When I heard these things from these women, I didn't ask them anything more, because I knew that after drinking this juice, these women become pregnant within a short time, because the same thing had happened to the previous women who went to the basement. She was worried that why and how do we become pregnant out of hope when we don't even meet anyone or have any relationship? And so when another virgin girl was born out of hope, then the news spread throughout our prison. Everyone was surprised that no one came to meet this girl. She was not even married. So how did she give birth to a child? Think for yourself. This is a matter of great surprise. But I can also say with certainty that Dr. Nelofar is behind this whole incident. She can tell you how all the children are born now. Otherwise, if Dr. Nelofar doesn't know, then why does she take these women to the basement? There must be someone in the basement because of which all these women are giving birth to children, and those are strange and poor children. Don't you think that all this is the work of Dr. Nelofar from somewhere or the other? After listening to Saima, I understood that this matter is not as simple as it seems. Obviously, it was very strange to have children from others, and then many women gave birth to one kind of child. Dr. Nelofar did not even receive any fee from this prison. Now, it is obvious that Dr. Nelofar there must have been some purpose. I just wanted to know that purpose. But whenever I would talk to Dr. Nelofar about the children, she would get angry and ask me if I wanted to be saved or not. Now I couldn't even come to jail without a purpose, because the prison staff only allowed me to enter with Dr. Nelofar, and I felt very strange that despite being a lawyer, I could not enter the prison, no matter how much I tried. Well, I did not pay much attention to it, nor did I believe in being emotional. Saima told me that she could allow me to enter the prison even without Dr. Nelofar. I accepted her offer. Thank you. She told me it was Saturday, because on Saturdays, Dr. Nelofar was in her clinic, and that was the day when I could go inside the jail and find out the situation there. Because if I did anything in Dr. Nelofar's presence, the jail staff would definitely know. On Friday, Saima did a great job. She even brought me Dr. Nelofar's coat and said, "Just dress like her and come in through the door. No one will stop you. No one will ask you why you have come inside the jail and what you have come to do. Because everyone here knows that Dr. Nelofar often comes here. So don't talk to anyone. Just come in with your glasses on." I did that. Saima's trick worked. When I reached the jail, Saima also showed me the way to the basement. There is a secret way to the bidding room. I know because I am obviously one of the jail staff, but no one else here knows about it, so you will also go carefully. It's not like if someone sees you leaving, it will be a problem for me, so you go alone. If someone does see you leaving, you are a lawyer. You are free. Your profession is different from mine. There is no danger for you, but it will be a problem for me. I did that. Saima had also given me a key that fitted a lock. By opening the lock, I could go to the basement, and I did that. I was very scared that if something unexpected happened in the basement, what would I do? What would I do if I needed help? But I just had a desire to help people in my heart. I could see the pained faces of these women who had been imprisoned here for years, who had children in their arms, and they were not even the mothers of these children. This was very painful. I was going down the stairs saying the name of Allah, and there was no one there. The basement was deserted. There were black curtains outside. When I saw the doors, I realized that there must be a room inside. Saima had told these women, according to what had happened in the basement, there was also a place to sleep here. If the basement was empty, then where would the women sleep? I went ahead and looked and saw a whole room in which there was an ultrasound machine and a bed. Perhaps the women were made to lie down on this bed, but all this was empty. There was neither a man nor any other person in it. But as soon as I started to go out, I heard the sound of the bathroom door opening next to this room. I ran upstairs on the tiptoe, but the person below had no idea that someone had come from here and returned. I also kept quiet. Saima asked me what happened. I did not tell her either, lest anyone find out about it. I went straight and started making a file for this case. I knew that something big would be found inside this prison. Then the same thing happened. When I told the police about this, no one cooperated with me. No one cooperated with me. Then I had to use personal connections. I had a personal acquaintance in the police. So on my request, a rate was arranged. And then when these people reached the women's central jail to rate them, the scene they saw was very surprising. No one had ever imagined that so much cruelty and oppression would be committed inside a seemingly deserted jail. Only female prisoners were kept here. Apparently no cruelty was done to them, but the greatest cruelty of the century was being done to these women. From now on, the biggest secret came out of this basement where a doctor who had come from a foreign country used human beings for his experiments. Anyway, the blood and body of us Pakistanis are so it is sickening that whoever wants to test their pills on us, we are used like experimental animals. Perhaps even the rats of the Americans are more valuable than us Pakistanis. Dr. Arthur had been sitting here for a long time, setting up a laboratory. Due to one of his wrong experiments, many children were born to others. No one can say anything about their lives. What will be their identity in society? How will they spend their lives? With the help of Dr. Nilofar, he continued to conduct all these stupid experiments. Because in any other country in the world, such stupid and senseless experiments are not allowed. But in our country, even the law can be bought. A doctor's doctorate can be bought. From the pen of a journalist to the statement of a cleric, this was very sad, but no one thought about it. No one saw what was going to happen to our women. Dr. Arthur, who was not allowed to experiment on humans in a foreign country, invested a lot of money and started experimenting on women in prison because he knew very well. There is no one in this country to question him, but what I regret the most is that no one was punished in this case, except the jailer Samam, because she had informed me about this matter, and the same thing was proven in the trail, and Saima was also punished. I regret this to this day that we lifted the veil of truth, but what did we get in return from this bench? What did Saima get, and what was the benefit of my hard work? I wish that there was a justice system in our country so that only the criminals would be punished and not the innocent.